As I recall, you were jonesing to get my perspective on this song.
Yeah, I'm not so bothered now. Um,
Well, good. I didn't want to talk about it anyway. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to another installment of the Audiophiles. I'm Audiophile Andy. That's Audiophile John. And we are here to sift through some audio files. Which one are you offering up today, John?
so, I am giving you a track by a band called Curve. Have you heard of Curve, the band?
Man, that's one of those names that sounds like you should have heard it or heard of it. But I can't say with any certainty that I've heard this band before.
I'd be surprised if you did. Um, I just don't think they made it over your side of the pond.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, I'm generally, I have an idea most of the time of what you'll make of the songs I give you, but really interested to see what you'd make of this. The track is called I Speak Your Every Word.
You were everywhere. Okay. It's like it reminds me of you shut your mouth when you're talking to me. I speak your every word. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll go give it a listen and let you know what I think, man. It's so early days here, but I'm already loving this wah and the upbeat nature of this tune. As you can see, it's got me bobbing along here. It's got to mean something, right?
Just the other day, I hear your voice from far away. I can sense suction in your every word. Maybe I'm dreaming when my vision is blurred. Something inside you, I see pictures of children. I speak
That vocalizing is great. I was just about to say I'm not really picking up on any of the lyrics. I'm still not. It's kind of like because there's kind of this like airy, like ethereal kind of like vocal delivery over this like in your face guitar. I'm finding it a lot easier to focus on the thing that's in your face. So it's a little distant to me. I'd have to listen to this again or really spend the rest of this reaction trying to hone in on the vocal delivery. It sounds good. I just can't make out what he's saying, at least to this juncture. But it's also this part that he's getting into now where he's doing this vocalizing. It sounds like effective and it matches the mood or the sort of like auditory aesthetic of the tune in general. So yeah, so far so good. This fucking guitar is great. almost this like grinding sound. I like it. It's interesting and unexpected. I'm gonna take that back a little bit. That was fucking phenomenal. It's like so you had that grinding sound, then there was almost like a pulsating sound, then they were kind of happening together, and then it kind of like fell back to just like that pulsating sound, and that it was so good. So good, so fun and interesting how you could just tinker and play around with small sounds, put them all together, and they create this awesome sort of palette of sounds and mechanisms that they use. Yeah, I mean, obviously a very guitar-driven song, which is to take nothing away from all the players in this tune. But my God, so much fun, and I mean the production work is really cool too. That part that I really love there toward the end, where all the guitar was kind of like the guitars were doing this fun, balancing act between sounds, was really further enhanced by the editing and production job on this track. And I loved it from the word go. I mean, all that awesome wah work, even the vocalization, the ooh, and all that sounded so good with all of it. Good steady drum beat, keeping everything moving. Yeah, this is yet another great song. And I don't know much about Curve, but I would imagine that if anyone does, it's John, and he can fill in some blanks for me and let me know if there's more I'm missing out on, because I would be interested in listening to not only this song again, but other tracks by this band. All right, let's get back to them. As I recall, you were jonesing to get my perspective on this song.
Yeah, I'm not so bothered now.
Well, good. I didn't want to talk about it anyway. This is actually a hella fun, man. I really enjoyed this song a lot. There's like, it starts off with these like few gunshot drum hits, and then we're off. And Sweet Fancy Moses, that wah guitar. Oh my God. It's about as infectious as COVID, man. It just sounded superb. Loved it. And it's to take nothing away from the drum and the bass or any of the players in the tune. They were all working together to create this like ever rolling rhythm section, but the wah guitar was just awesome. I found it hard to give much attention to the vocals, as the guitars really captured my attention from the jump. But I did really enjoy the singer's like airy falsetto vocalizing, like the oohs and the ahs, if you will, during portions of the
Yeah.
song. I thought it was really effective, and it blended well with the overall sound of the song itself.
The vocals are quite low in the mix as well, though.
Yeah, yeah. In fact, it's only the only part I felt that was really pronounced were the falsetto oohs and ahs that I just talked about, right? So of course they stood out. So there's this really interesting, almost grinding, very mechanical sound effect or sound being used around the 2:15 mark. And then the song shifts, and you have this like phasing and pulsating sound with the guitar like melody over it. And then there's this more frictious grinding sound, like from earlier bit, that pairs up with that sound, and there's this really interesting dichotomy of sounds happening in this portion of the song, which I thought was really fucking cool, and like maybe even more interesting because I know wah. Like I've of course I like wah. That's like a sound that I like to hear when I hear it. This is like different and a little harder to place, and therefore I find more interesting, and I suppose have to admit I like more, for all intents and purposes, more than the wah. So this thing kind of came along and stole the show from what I thought was just going to be this super forward guitar song that you knew what you were getting into in the first 20 seconds. So yeah, I really enjoyed like the play of sound dynamics and effects, or whatever the fuck is providing those like grinding sounds and shit. The great production work though, the phasing and all that stuff. Oh, terrific. It's rather short-lived, but I mean, I loved it, and it was great production work, like I said. And that really added to my admiration of that bit of the tune. Then around the 3:14s, the song shifts again, and we get this like industrially fuzzed out bass. And there's some like snappy snare-driven drum beats, and the guitar melodically droning away as the singer continues his ooh and ah vocalization that I said I loved. And by 3:55, the song kind of fades to nothing. It was fun and full of drive and sound dynamic tinkering, and just an excellent balance, I think, between this song is great because it excellently balances awesome musicianship, which is clearly featured on this, but also great like editing and production work too by whomever took the reins at the big board when it came to this one. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. I'm kind of like you said, you were interested to hear my input or reaction to this song because like you can usually know where I stand with a song even before you give it to me. I'm surprised you didn't know that I would firmly just love this.
Yeah,
like the sound on
I
this
had
one.
a suspicion, but it's interesting. I'll go into a bit about the band, but just this song. They came from an interesting place. I might as well just get into it, and what they developed and how they went with their sound was quite a nice. It's just something slightly different to what else was going on at the time. So, Curve. They're formed in 1990, went through to 2005. They're known as alt rock, electronica, shoegaze, and dream pop. It's a duo. Tony Halliday, she does vocals and lyrics and sometimes guitar, but not on this. And then Dean Garcia, guitar, bass, drums, programming. He's basically the music,
Yeah.
for the most. But they do write the music. She does the lyrics, and then they do write the music together. But he produces it. So the pair met through Dave Stewart of the Eurythmics. So as well as being part of, are you familiar with the Eurythmics?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're pretty
Not like overly, but I'm aware that they.
Yeah,
I think I've heard like two. Yeah.
They were a fairly big band actually, particularly in the 80s in this country. And he had a sort of side job as a bit of a music mogul as well, his own record label and stuff going on. And so Garcia had played bass as part of their touring band in the mid-80s. Um, and Stewart was also mentoring Holiday as a solo act on his Anxious Records label. So the two of them met. They formed a band called State of Play in the mid-80s, got absolutely nowhere and split. And then a few years later, they kind of reconnected and they formed as Curve in 1990. So they made a bit of a splash in the sort of indie alternative scene, not mainstream. But so their first four EPs were particularly lauded. The first one, this one being Blindfold. Um, the lead track on that, 10 Little Girls, was single of the week in Melody Maker. They had quite nice looking EPs. That's probably the most uninteresting one of the lot. Also, that track, 10 Little Girls, it's had this industrial, almost coming into shoegazy type sound indie, but it also had a young guy, should know who, I can't remember, rapping on it as well in little sections. And it was a very early iteration of that happening. 1990,
Yeah.
1991 was really early for that to happen. The second EP, Cherry, is this one here. I know they start to get the graphic designer in and sort of looking good. Really good. This was single of the week in Melody Maker and NME. The third EP, Frozen, again, really nice looking. Single of the week, Melody Maker. Yeah, and in terms of, and then the fourth EP, which is Fait Accompli, which is this one here. Again, really nice. They started, I don't know when they started doing it, but they made the back and the front exactly the same. And this is
Yeah.
like the remix versions. That was single of the week as well. So in terms of though, like hitting the mainstream, the first three EPs made numbers 68, 34, and 36, respectively. So not massive dents in the charts. And Fait Accompli hit number 22, which is the highest sort of charting sort of single. This, as I say, from this first EP, Blindfold. They then brought out their debut album, Doppelganger, in 1992, which is this one here. And again, lovely design to it. Really nice, interesting sort of graphics.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah. And they didn't include any of the tracks in the first three EPs on this Brave Move. It's even a slightly more sort of heavy and aggressive. Really, really good album. It got to number 11 in the UK chart, which was a great success at the time. Q Magazine wrote, every song on here is swimming in guitars, mashed, chewed, flanged, compressed, squally, howling, whatever. But no matter how cacophonous the music gets, and the ice that melts the tips sounds like three guitars are beating the crap out of a fourth. Halliday's voice is terrifically sensual and seductive, sounding just the pretty side of evil, which I think is a great quote. Incidentally, at the end of that year, just released in America only, and it was the thumbnail for the reaction video. They compiled the first three EPs and tacked on the track Fait Accompli. I don't know why they did that, but for some reason they did. Second album, Cuckoo, in 1993, didn't have the same success. And after touring heavily after that album, the band went into hiatus for 3 years. They came back in 96 and produced another three albums where they finally split in 2005. But really, their time under a moderate sun, as it were, was that first three EPs and album really were doing great stuff. I'll get into the lyrics. There's not a huge amount to them, but it's all about the feel of the song, and it has that sort of sweet spot where it's that sort of indie sound guitars with a bit of industrial, with a bit of shoegaze, with a bit of electronica, and they're all blending, and they're still finding their way, their first few ones. So you get kind of they're experimenting on the fly, and the sound does change just a little bit each time. As they went on after Doppelganger, they became more electronic and almost dance influenced as well, and they're kind of faint touches of that in some of their songs, but there's just really interesting stuff,
Mm.
and it can be hit or miss. But I really like those first 3 EPs. So anyway, lyrics. I spoke to you just the other day. I hear your voice from far away. I can smell deception in your every word. Maybe I'm dreaming and my vision is blurred. Something inside you, I see pictures of children. I speak your every word. That's the chorus. You are my savior. You've come to fix me. Good, good, good. There's something about you that makes me feel angry and misunderstood. And then I about 48 times. And then it comes back with there's something inside you, there's something about you. I speak your every word. Lyrically, not so rich as the music, but
Yeah,
occasionally
yeah.
when
I don't think it's
occasionally.
meant to be, right? Like it
No, no.
sounds like, unless, instead of the music being a canvas on which the lyricist can paint, it's more like they're highlighting an almost or like nearly finished product with their, peppering in them. And it's, again, they even did it in production. It sounds like, where the parts that are most pronounced aren't even the parts where there's like really definitively much or anything being said. It's just
No.
the sound and the emoting and the vocalizing that is what
Yeah.
stands out.
No, I totally agree with you. And in fact, as you said previously, it's her vocalizing, which is the most effective parts of
Yeah.
it. It's nice to have her singing whatever she's singing going along, but when it gets to the and all that stuff, that's really where it sort of blends in with the music and really
Yes.
works really,
Yes.
really well.
Exactly. It's an
Um,
accent mechanism.
yeah, so little known band from anyone who can remember the 90s, and there's plenty of us who can't, for one reason or another. But yeah, I just thought it'd be interesting for you to have a little blast of it and see what you think. And hopefully, there's guys, viewers in the channel as well, who might have a thing or two to say about Curve.
Yeah, yeah. This is a really great track. It's interesting that they mess with it. This could be a band where I could easily see myself like liking one track, not liking another. That track is decent, this one not so much, because of the playing with sounds from track to track, as you alluded to. That's sort of the path they took. So yeah, but this one was a great hit with me, man. I really love the guitars in this, and
Yeah.
just the sound dynamics that they toy with.
Yeah, I can't remember when, but they brought out a cover version of Donna Summer's I Feel Love. Not good. But I have another track in the pipeline, which is a live version of a song off their second EP, which is awesome. And now you've broken your cherry, as it were, with Curve. I should give you that and nod, and I think you'll find that just as interesting.
Okay.
And
Cool.
really, and live as well, it's pretty interesting to see how they recreate their studio mindfuckery on a live stage. So yeah, cool.
Nice.
Anyway, I'll wrap things up.
Cool.
Thanks for listening to this. I'm glad you got something out of it. And folks out there, what do you think of Curve? Are there any people who can remember them? Were there anyone stupid enough to buy all their EPs? Um, but yeah, let us know what you think about this track, any of their other tracks. 10 Little Girls and Fait Accompli are probably the two really sort of famous ones, but there's some decent sort of EP tracks on there, not just the lead tracks on their first few outputs, and the album's really good as well. So yeah, drop some comments, hit the like button if you like this, hit the like button if you don't, and perhaps you will grow to like it just for doing that.
Like setting
Who
a
knows?
goal.
Or dares to dream. If you haven't subscribed, please do, and help us grow the channel. We really, really appreciate all your support. And that being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we will see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you guys.